اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم، إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم، تنزيل العزيز الرحيم، لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون. لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون. وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون. وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب، فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم، وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون، إذ أرسلنا إليهم 2 فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون. قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين. قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم. قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين، اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون. أتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغن عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون. إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين. وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جود من السماء وما كنا منزلين. إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون. يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون. ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون. وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون. وآية لهم الأرض الميتة وأحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون. وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون. سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون. وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون. والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم. والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم. لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
محمد وعلى محمد صلوات. عباس عباس يا أبا الفضل العباس سقائے حرم رکھ لینا برم ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں سقائے حرم رکھ لینا برم ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں تم بھی نہیں ہم کو تو کرانا تم بھی نہیں ہم کو تو کرانا ہم دنیا کے ٹکرائے ہیں عباس عباس یا ابا الفضل العباس اب سارے سہارے تو تجھ کے ہم اپنے پرائے لوٹ چکے اب سارے سہارے ٹوٹ چکے ہم اپنے پرائے لوٹ چکے تم اپنی پناہوں میں لے لو تم اپنی پناہوں میں لے لو ہم غم سے بہت گھبرائے ہیں عباس عباس یا ابا الفضل العباس عشقوں کی زباں پہچانتے ہو جو دل میں ہے وہ جانتے ہو عشقوں کی زباں پہچانتے ہو جو دل میں ہے وہ جانتے ہو ہم کہہ نہیں سکتے تم سن لو ہم کہہ نہیں سکتے تم سن لو بس ہاتھ کو پہلائیے ہے सोती है, काका के तमाचे रोती है, जिंदा के काक पे सोती है। बुझ जाए प्यास सकीना की, बुझ जाए प्यास सकीना की, हम आँखों में आंसू लाई है। अब्बास अब्बास या अबल फज़लिल अब्बास, दरबार सकी अब्बास कथा, कुछ मांगन था लाजिम मांगा। दरबार सकी अब्बास कथा, कुछ मांगन था लाजिम मांगा। लेकिन ये हकीकत भी है कमर, लेकिन ये हकीकत भी है कमर, हम पुर से दीन आए हैं। अब्बास अब्बास या अबल फज़लिल अब्बास। सलवात। पर मोहम्मद व आली मोहम्मद सलवात। There came a time when there was no response. You left me alone, and now you've already gone. I missed you, and now it is too late. I need you, but now just grief awaits. And this is why I bring to you a message that has never been told. A message that the world has seen the seventh heaven cry on. And this is why I give to you a message from Sakina to Abbas. There came a time where you had gone and left me all alone. My feelings, you raised them, and now I'm all exposed. I saw you, we saw you, now where do I begin? The children are waiting, now where do I begin? The skies look down upon all atrocities. The water looked up, waiting for you to reach. I saw your face before you left, and now I feel so cold. My feelings, you raised them, and now I'm all exposed. I looked up and stood up, praying for your return. I looked down and sat down, my life for you I yearn. Hoping, crying, waiting for you to turn my cheeks. Soon now will face the burning pain. I saw your arms divide in two, and now I can't behold. My feelings, you raised them, and now I'm all exposed. My lion, my uncle, your story is untold. When you left to fetch water, what secrets did unfold? Your thirsty heart burning like a red hot coal of flame. Not a drop touched your lips as you remembered your Husayn. My father could not bring you back, and now his back has broke. My feelings, you raised them, and now I'm all exposed. There came a time where you had gone and left me all alone. My feelings, you raised them, and now I'm all exposed. There's fear now, it's clear now, his eyes have fallen red. The ladies and orphans running from tent to tent. Your arms, your eye, are for the love of one. Now trials continue under the bright and burning sun. In ropes and chains we leave this place, but mourn forevermore. Your courage, your patience, your flag will always call. برسق يا حسين أبو فضل العباس بوازب بلد سلوات.
The following poem is called The Lion, and it's in honor of Qamar ibn Hashim Abu al-Fadl Abbas. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Abu al-Fadl's mother was chosen for the courage in her veins. She sacrificed her name, for it echoed loud with pain, for to hear the name of Fatima would cause Ali to shake, would remind him of a rib and how it was made to break, would remind him of a door, its frame lit up with flames, would remind him of blood that left stains upon a nail. No, the name Fatima would cut Ali time and time again. So Abbas's mother became al-Banin to protect Ali, divided her love into portions, giving plenty to her 4 sons and Zahra's orphans. No, let me correct myself. For al-Banin didn't birth children, but cubs, shower them with kisses and hugs, empower them with a richness of love for Hassan and Husayn, a love she couldn't hide. And together these cubs formed her brightly shining pride. And Abbas loved Husayn too, followed in their steps, like the sun follows the moon. But here, the moon of the Hashemites follows the sons of Zahra over the horizon. And soon those cubs turned lions, formed a valiant alliance that would strike fear into any titan or giant. At Siffin, Abbas fought in such a way that made his father proud, left so many bodies in his wake that you could hardly count, then announced to the enemy so they could not even be a tiny part of doubt, I am Abbas, son of Ali, and it is the role of the son of Ali to protect the sons of Muhammad. I am the hands, and they are the eyes, and it is the role of the hands to protect the eyes. But where were those hands on the day of Ashura? And look how Abu al-Fadl protected Hasnain. This Abbas wasn't afraid of their swords or arrows, or even death, for we Bani Hashim played with death as children. So here we have it, from their youth in Siffin, Abbas and Husayn, Husayn and Abbas, two lions who walked the same path until that path led them to the land of Karbala. And the arrows came, and the blood was spilt, and the bodies fell, and the children cried, and then Abbas's time came. Abbas enters the field of battle, and the enemy scatter like a field of cattle, for there's a lion in their midst, with a flag in one hand and a mushk tied around his wrist. The enemy are shaking, but they try and pretend to be brave, but really they're just impious men, and this is no longer a battlefield, but a lion's den, and Abu Fadl's praise stand frozen, and upon Abbas their eyes focus, and he walks between them as if they are the Red Sea and he is Moses. He looks down at the water and wonders, should I take some or not? Some say he remembered the thirst of Husayn, but in truth, he never forgot. He marches forwards, and to the water he clings. But then from behind a tree, Zayd bin Warqa La'in swings, hacks Abbas's right hand. But here's the thing, you can't stop Abu al-Fadl, who proudly sings, I swear if you cut my right hand, I will forever protect this religion and protect an imam who is truthful and certain, the Holy Prophet's great-grandson. And then from behind another trunk, Hakam bin Tufail La'in springs, hacking the left arm of our skilled king, who'll soon be granted frilled wings. And even though they tried to kill him, look how his dismembered arm to the flag still clings. And listen how he still sings, O nafs, do not be scared of the kuffar. Rather get ready for the mercy of the Jabbar, where you will be close to the chosen ones of Allah. As he heads back to the tent, 100 arrows they fling. One glides through the sky and into the eye of Abbas it sinks. Zahra watches as the lion grips the mushk between his teeth. No arms tries to take the arrow out with his knees, and he keeps going for he hears Ruqayya weep. But another arrow is shot and in the mushk it sleeps. And look how Abu al-Fadl protected Hasnain. Onto the burning ground the water begins to seep, and finally Abbas falls down in a heap, calling out for his master. And Husayn mounts his horse and rides faster into the battlefield where he's met with disaster. Abu al-Fadl, with a voice that cracked, spoke, Mawla, please don't take me back home, because just now Ruqayya still has hope. So Husayn tries to place Abbas's head on his lap. No, Ya Mawla, who'll hold your head when you lay in that ditch so shallow? So he wipes Abbas's blood on his black robe, goes to the tent and knocks out the tagpole, winds up his flagpole, for today is the day that Husayn's back broke. So that's the story of Husayn and Abbas. They grew up side by side, and one by one they fell. Blood drenched their manes and the spears beneath as well. And in a city far away, in a home now a shell, a lioness falls to the floor and loudly begins to yell, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Bar Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad salawat. So can I please request everyone first just to stand up and just come forward, because I'm being requested by the volunteers at the back, with a loud salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Thank you so much. Okay, so my dear children, elders, brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome to the 8th night of Muharram 2022 here at Masjid Husayn, Leicester. Also, a warm welcome to our online viewers as always. I hope you're all benefiting from the stream. And of course, we're looking forward to hosting you in the next few nights here in person. And again, we say this every night, but may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the wasila of our beloved Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, accept all our ibadats and du'as during this month, inshallah. So before we start today's announcements, I just want to put the tonight's Majlis sponsors on the board, please. So Zain. So tonight's program is sponsored for the following marhumeens. Can we please recite a Surah Fatiha for them? Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so I just have a few announcements today, so let's just rattle through them. Announcement number 1 is the Matamdari program, which is planned for today. We have a host of local and national reciters. The program will start at 9:30 p.m. right after namaz, and it will also be streamed live on our YouTube channel. So we kindly encourage all of you to attend this program, and for those who can't make it, obviously tune in online. I'm sure it will be one not to be missed. Announcement number 2 is the general housekeeping. So as you can see today, it's very busy. So again, let's just be cognizant about our neighbors, noise pollution, especially tonight with the Matamdari program. When we're leaving the premises, let's just leave quietly so that our neighbors do not complain to us. Also around car parking, I've just come out of the car park. It's really full today. And for those who are coming in now, and if you're listening to the stream, please avoid Duxbury Road and Bridge Road. Again, we want to make sure that we've got cordial relationships with our neighbors. If you have any concerns around the parking or have any questions, please speak to our lovely volunteers who are assisting outside. And the final announcement, I guess this is just an introduction, and it's a good thing. MKSI Leicester Transformation Project. So I did say that today, Brother Samir, our president, will be addressing us. So can I please welcome Brother Samir to the podium with a loud salawat, please.
Wa Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. صلي على محمد وآل محمد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Scholars, my elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can I ask the AV team just to play the video once again? Jazakallah. Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad salawat. It's about doing something together. That makes belonging matter. I know Masjid presidents have a number of challenges they need to deal with, but I never thought I'd be dealing with this so soon. Alhamdulillah, it's a good thing. Right now we're in one of the most exciting times as we extend the Masjid that you all know and love.
I'm pretty sure that most people in England have been to our humble and welcoming Jamaat. So I won't go into all the particulars of why this project is much needed. All the details can be found on our website. So please do make sure you have a look.
This project will inshallah deliver an overflow facility during busy periods, remove noise pollution in the main hall, an area for members to socialize outside the main hall, an open space desk area for the management committee, toilet area further away from the main hall and prayer room, a newer and bigger AV room, a bigger ladies hall, a safe place for the children between ladies entrance and Al Zahra Center.
And there's more. On the second floor of the Al Zahra Center, we will have the Abu Fadl gym, which will host its own showers and lockers for ladies and gents. We're also building an amazing chill-out zone for all our youth, which will be kitted out with everything we need. I mean, for me, this project is all about making the mosque a one-stop shop. I mean, when the Prophet had his mosque in Medina, it wasn't just about learning, it was meant to be a one-stop shop for everyone to come and do as they please and have everything in that place. So they don't need to go elsewhere to find other enjoyment. They can find it all at the place of not just worship, but fun as well.
We've received some amazing support from World Federation and COEG, and now we need your help. So far we have raised £330,000 and we need only £520,000 more.
We could sit here all day and tell you the benefits of you donating. I could say that those who spend in the way of Allah is just like a grain that produces 7 ears, each ear having 100 grains. And Allah multiplies the reward for whom He wills. But I won't. We all know that hadith. Instead, I want to show you what this project means for our community, for your community.
Can't wait to have a safe and clean place to hang out with my friends and beat them at FIFA.
I think this is going to be so much fun because I can play with my friends in the game room.
It'll give the girls and ladies of our community a space where they can feel comfortable and safe, allowing them to be fitter and healthier.
Now there's 2 ways to support our project. Number 1 is that you contribute towards it. And number 2, buy a raffle ticket. You know, the raffle prizes are absolutely amazing. Top prize, 2 Ziyarat tickets to Imam Husayn. Second prize, a £5,000 kitchen voucher. We've got so many other prizes. For further information, do contact myself or simply go to our website. Just think about it this way. What would Hazrat Abbas say if he knew that you donated in his name? Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For those who don't know, my name is Samir Rajani and I am the president of MKSI Leicester, Masjid al Husayn. First and foremost, I would like to welcome all of our attendees, visitors at this center, as well as those watching online who've been following us for the last 8 nights, 7 nights plus tonight. Secondly, I would like to send my commemorations to our Imam of our time, Ajallahu Ta'ala Farjahu Sharif. Muhammad Muhammad. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Ahlul Bayt, Muhammad the Ahlul Bayt, to all the 40 Masumeens, as well as all the lovers of Hazrat Abbas Alayhi Salam. Muhammad Muhammad Salawat. Muhammad. Before I go to the project update, I just wanted to say thank you very much for everybody. Jazakallah for the support you've given us over the last 7 nights, as well as, inshallah, throughout the program. And alhamdulillah, we're getting very close to the budget. We expect the trajectory is that we are in a position to have completed our budget. So jazakallah for that, and salawat. So we started a journey last year, mid last year, where we decided to embark on a new project and the transformation of Masjid al Husayn. In November, we went to the management committee, as well as the trustees, went to the members of our community. Alhamdulillah, in November, we approved the project. In December, we started the planning permission, and after 8 months, on the night of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam, I wanted to announce that the planning permission has been approved. Alhamdulillah. Salawat. Masalli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. As you know, the project is about a few things. One of them is the Imam Barga extension. The other part is the ladies' connection to Al Zahra Center, providing a safe space for our children when they use the Al Zahra Center. The other two aspects are the extension of Al Zahra Center, which will have a fitness center as well as a chill-out room for the children. This is all in honor of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. And tonight it is his night that we commemorate. Alhamdulillah, our timing has been, we started in Sha'ban on our website, and now on the night of Hazrat Abbas, we've hit a massive milestone. From now onwards, now we need to think about the next steps, which is to build a selection, and inshallah, after Muharram Safar period, to start to build and continue with our journey, inshallah. On the night like this, I would like to appeal to everybody live, those who are watching. We have so far probably 500,000 viewers online as well as in the masjid. And if we just give £1 each, that would be £500,000, and that would meet our target. What I'm going to do now is give a live appeal. Usually we don't allow mobile phones to be used during the majlis, but I request those who are in the center as well as those who are online and who will be watching this program going forward, I ask you all to take your mobile phones, the details in there. I'm going to do this myself as well. Wa Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, in the honor of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. The amount doesn't matter, brothers and sisters. This is a live appeal. This is one thing that's unique. We've never done this before, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to collect a decent amount in honor of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. Like I said at the end of the project, what would Hazrat Abbas say if he knew that you donated in his name? So whilst I do that, and other brothers, I can see a few taking their mobile phones out, and I'm hoping online as well. I'm going to make a payment right now. It's on the screen. If not, the account number is 40228. The sort code is, 402803. The account number is 11088793. Reference number AFG. Account name is MKSIA Community. I'm going to mention it one more time, brothers and sisters as well. A sort code 402803, account number 11088793. 11088793. Reference AFG, Abul Fazl Jim. And the name is MKSI Community. And like I said, bigger the number, the better. But ultimately, contributing towards this great cause. So I've just made that payment. I've made previous payments. I've made a payment today, and I'll continue to make the payment because I believe in the project. I believe that the strategy and the objectives that we have as a community, as a team, and inshallah the growth of Leicester Jamaat in the future as well. So I've made a payment of £1,000. And I'll continue to make the payment until this project is completed. Bar Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad salawat. Thank you everybody. Jazakallah for listening to the update. Inshallah we'll continue to meet our objectives. And let's just make a quick prayer. All of us put your hands together that this project is completed and it's successful. Finally, I would like to welcome, actually before I do that, can I ask brothers, please bring yourself forward. To the bottom right of my side, yeah? Please, brothers, Bar Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad salawat. Finally, I would like to welcome our esteemed guest, Brother Syed, Dr. Syed Ammar Nakshwani. Bar Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad salawat. One more time, please. There's more people that are coming. The majlis is about to start. Can I just request that one more time? Jazakallah, Bar Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Before I begin, I think the onus is on me to set the example rather than just for the president to set the example. I've lectured in this community for now 20 years, on and off, and sometimes people would ask me when Muharram comes, where are you this Muharram? And they normally expect to hear the name of a really big city in the world. And then I say Leicester. And while Leicester, without a doubt, is a big city, but the people of Leicester are people with big hearts. And this is something that made me always promise that every few years, when I first came here, 20 years ago, may Allah bless Haji Muslim Rajani, sitting there, who used to always push for the youth and for English lectures. And who would have thought 20 years ago, quite ironically, when we came 20 years ago, myself and this other speaker you may have heard of called Mehdi Hassan were lecturing. And he went towards some success, mashallah. And I went towards some success with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this project is a project which has a base for a number of reasons. The first reason is that it provides a safe space and an extension for the ladies and gents of this community. So instead of people always asking you to come forward, you'll end up having an extension which is going to be there for everybody to be able to benefit from. The second reason, and my favorite reason, is because there's going to be a gym which caters for the ladies and a gym which caters for the gents. And the fitness center will be called the Abu al-Fadl Gym. It will be named after Abu al-Fadl. Sometimes you hear gyms named after different companies or different concepts, but imagine in the heart of the UK, you have a gym named after Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. And so this second reason, let alone the third reason, a recreation space for our youths to chill, to relax. Make the mosque a place where you can come and relax and see each other and socialize rather than have to go outside. Those of you who've benefited from the majalis over the years in this particular mumbar, you've all recognized it from YouTube. There have been some lectures which are memorable on this particular mumbar, and some not so memorable. But you find that this particular mumbar is one that has served. And that's why I ask all of you, and I want to set the example in all honesty, something which I would never normally do before a lecture because my mind is completely engrossed in my notes. But let's all, those of you who haven't, if you do have the ability online, just go to your phone one final time and let's make a donation, because it transforms our Muharram. A few nights ago, I asked people to do a donation for Yemen. We're on £50,000. And now the people of Yemen, inshallah, that little bit that we're sending will inshallah help them. Likewise, this place, which is catering for your knowledge and your sons and daughters' knowledge, try and give back if you can now on your phone. I give just 30 seconds, 1 minute. Here's the details. Wherever you may be online, for the viewers who have watched the lectures for the last 8, 9, not months, not days, years, try online right now if you can to give a donation towards the mosque. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts it from me, accepts it from the viewers, and accepts it from all of you here. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. I don't know how much further you can go forward, but if you can just come as close to the front as you can, try and make space, especially to your left-hand side. Try and go to your left as much as you can, my dear brothers and sisters, so that there is space for those coming in. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين. The first of our loud salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second even louder salawat in honor of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Allahumma salli. A third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. Allahumma salli ala. Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Shia Kaffir, Shia Kaffir is a slogan that has been heard recently and a slogan that has been said in certain parts of the Muslim world for over 1,000 years. Indeed, you find the issue of takfir and kufr is an issue of the utmost importance and sensitivity within the religion of Islam. Because we know that within the religion of Islam today, there are a couple of billion Muslims who are alive. Those couple of billion Muslims who are alive in the world today all come from different groups and backgrounds. But at one stage or another, each and every one of them has been at the receiving end of being called a kafir. Be you, for example, within the different sects of the Sunni world or within the different sects of the Shia world, at one stage or another in the last 1400 years, the accusation of disbelief or the accusation of heresy has been labeled against every single Muslim. If you look, for example, within Shia school, the Ithna Ashariya and the Ismailiya have both been at the receiving end of being called kafirs. At the same time, you'll find that there are certain Muslims who are neither necessarily counted as Sunni or Shia who may have been at the receiving end of being called kafir. For example, in Pakistan, you have a sizable community known as the Ahmadiyya or the Qadianis. Some of you may have come across them. The Ahmadiyya or the Qadianis are continuously facing situations where their life is under threat. Irrespective of conclusions on their theological beliefs, naturally I ask a question that am I, when I live in the UK and there's an Ahmadi community, or I live in the Pakistan or in East Africa and I see an Ismaili community, can I still label charges of kufr or charges of heresy against another Muslim, as in another Muslim who says in front of me that they believe in one God and that they believe in the prophethood of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Can I turn around and label such a person a kafir or a kafira? Because in the past, the slogans used to be slogans where a person who was seen as a disbeliever may have been called a mulhid or a zindiq. or a kafir. Today you even have more slogans than this. There are other slogans today which are employed. Tomorrow night I will look at Shia calling each other kafir. That's a different story, where we'll examine the groups of the Shia in the world today and who they believe is kafir from amongst each other, from both Maulanas, Maraji', and those who are on the ground. That we'll leave till tomorrow night, inshallah. But for tonight, when you look at this area of kufr, the problem with kufr is that when I accuse you of being kafir, a whole set of laws then impose themselves on you. These sets of laws that impose themselves on you are laws which could result in you losing your life. Because if you are a kafir in a worldview where you have Dar al-Islam and you have Dar al-Harb, a world, for example, which is a world of Islam and a world of war, or you have Dar al-Salam and Dar al-Kufr, a world which is an Islamic world, state, versus an area of kufr. If you, as a person who's a kafir, are living in a Muslim country, you could end up being someone who, if you don't convert to Islam, or if you don't pay the jizya, the tax of the Islamic economic system, could be executed or could be killed. And that's why when you look today, for example, in Afghanistan, 25 Hazaras, if I'm not mistaken, today got executed or got killed in an assassination attempt. That is clearly showing us that Shia kafir is still an issue. When in Muharram, a month when supposedly all who love the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, should be gathering together to remember his grandson, you'll find two groups. One group who'll gather together to have weddings in Muharram. I remember when I gave a majlis in Peterborough a couple of years ago, I was on my way to recite the Maqtal on the 10th of Muharram, and I saw a Muslim family who were having a wedding on the 10th of Muharram. But then there's another group who kill others who they view no longer as Muslims. They view them as kafirs. And so when I look at that, I begin to ask myself the question that in the UK, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in other parts of the world, Muslims labeling each other as kuffar. Instead of looking at each other and saying that these people have similar beliefs to one another, rather you find that it becomes open. Even our literature, the reality is that many of us still abide by literature that has come from medieval scholarship. There are still medieval Muslim scholars who are quoted in lectures. Today, if I quote, for example, Allam al-Hilli, or I quote, for example, Shahid al-Awwal, I'm quoting who? I'm quoting a Muslim medieval scholar. His opinions still count. I'm still going to use him as a source. What happens if he has a fatwa which describes somebody as a kafir? Do I take that fatwa? If I see a Muslim saying La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, after that, they don't believe what I believe. For example, are they allowed to have the freedom to have their ijtihad, not just on theology, but also ijtihad on history? There's two types of ijtihad. There's an ijtihad in the usul al-din. There's an ijtihad on history, because history, if you break the word into two, it is his story. His story, what does it mean? It means it's my story of how I'm going to narrate depending on who I like and who I admire. So when you see the word history, whether you're doing GCSEs or A-levels or a degree in history, always remember his story. So now when I look at his story, am I allowed to have ijtihad on a particular incident? Am I allowed to have ijtihad on what took place in the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi? Am I allowed to have my own reading, or do I have to subscribe to one reading? Of course, if a non-Muslim hears this, the non-Muslim gets baffled when he hears someone saying there's only one true reading of Islamic history. If you talk to a non-Muslim, and we saw this recently in the news, when you had certain people saying that the depiction of what took place in early Islam is false. False according to who? According to who? Unless you have a golden tablet that has come down from Jannah, and you've opened it, and it says, this is history. How can you, as a human being, come and tell me, as a human being, that my version of history is wrong? You have a narrator, and I have a narrator. Am I allowed to have ijtihad as a Muslim in history? Or do me and you have to agree on everything being the same? I have a particular reading of history. You have a particular reading of history. Why are you calling me a kafir when it is something that A, took place, for example, 1,000 years ago? Someone says it's better that we don't even discuss that history. Some in our communities, and you would see this even in your own family, you'll hear some people saying, why do we always discuss the past? Why don't we just talk about what's happening now? Do you hear this sometimes in your own family? That if you discuss history, you cause trouble. Whereas if we discuss what's happening in the world today, then it's better because it helps us as Muslims move forward. Firstly, that's a disrespect to God because he loves talking about history in his Quran. When God talks to the Prophet, he tells him about a man called Adam who's 1,000 years way before him. And God tells him about Nuh as well. So I cannot distance myself from history. But how do I talk about history in a way in which I can have my own reading but appreciate the reading of others? Therefore, this topic of kufr is one of the utmost importance. When recently you see video Shia Kaffir, Shia Kaffir. Of course, this is not the majority of non-Shia saying this. This is a group of non-Shia who say Shia Kaffir, Shia Kaffir. But there must be a reason they say that. There must be a base of it. Let's tonight examine the accusations of kufr, not just towards the Shia, but generally speaking. And I'd like to do this in the following stages. Number one, when did this religion, this pure religion of Allah, get divided into groups who begun to call each other kafir? Number two, why would they call each other kafir? Number three, is kufr got a particular line or a particular boundary? If a person believes in God and believes that the Prophet was sent by God, is this enough for a person to be Muslim? Number four, why were the Shia the most in terms of the receiving end of being called kafir? And how did this particular kufr evolve over history? Number five, how are fatwas of different scholars, both Shia and non-Shia, responsible for accusations of kufr? Number six, should we as Shia stop talking about early Islamic history? Number seven, should we not make films about our Islamic history? Or should we delve into the world of films and be open in our discussions? Number eight, what if someone tells me that you are the people of taqiyya and you are the people who allow sectarianism to be spoken from in your mosques? And number nine, in reality, someone who calls me a kafir, let them look at the similarities between us and them, and they'll realize that there aren't many differences in terms of the pillars of faith. Let's examine this and dissect the topic in complete depth. Islam, when it comes, is not a religion of sects. And nor does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want it to be a religion of sects. Ultimately, God does not want that the religion of Islam becomes a group of sects. God wants the religion to be one religion which everybody follows. But whether we like it or we don't, human beings may either hold on to the truth of the prophets that came to them, or they may splinter into groups. As in, Islam isn't the first religion that's splintered into groups. Sometimes you have Muslims saying, why is there Sunni and Shia? Relax. Before the Holy Prophet, there was Sunnah and Shia. But those who were Sunni and Shia before the Prophet, one was the Shia of, for example, James or Peter, and another were following the Sunnah of Jesus through Paul. It can happen. After Jesus left this world, some people went to Paul. You know, St. Paul's Cathedral is named after Paul, who without a doubt is the most influential person in Christianity. If you ask anyone, who's the most influential person in Christianity, they'll always say to you, it's Jesus. It's not Jesus, no chance. Paul, 13 of the 27 books of the Bible are written or are attributed to him. If you ask any Christian this Bible, if Jesus is so important, why is it always Paul's letters which make up half the Bible? A Jewish man who converts to Christianity, having persecuted the earlier Christians, becomes the most influential person in that religion. It happens. Sometimes a convert who has been the one who's persecuted the members of that religion ends up later being the most influential man in that religion. I'm sure you can add the jigsaw pieces together. So you find that even before the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family died, there were already prophets whose groups had gone into sects. The Jews 71, the Christians 72, the Muslims 73. But this issue of kufr began within the early part of the 2nd century of the religion of Islam. In the first 100 years of this religion, we can clearly tell that Muslims were not all in agreement on everything. Otherwise, there wouldn't be battles called Jamal and Siffin. Isn't that true? Jamal and Siffin, which only had about 25,000 people die, so it's not too bad an occasion. These battles, Jamal and Siffin, between Muslims, yes, each of them were saying La ilaha illallah. All of them were saying that they love the Prophet. In some cases, not just love, his cousins were there, his wife was there, other companions were there. But you could tell that there now definitely was going to be a difference of opinion that existed. Of course, some people justify that difference by saying fitna. It's a fitna that happened. It's a dissension. The irony is the fitna is always against one man. It's that if it's a fitna against others, I wouldn't mind. But the fitna is always against one man. You fight him at Jamal, you fight him at Siffin. Those fitan exist. At that time, my dear brothers and sisters, at the time of the Battle of Jamal, how many Muslim sects were there at the time of Jamal, which had a clear identity emerging in their theology? In reality, up to the time of the Battle of Jamal, there's one sect, in reality, by name, and that is Shi'at Ali. Shi'at Ali. The people who followed Imam Ali, alayhi salam, on the basis that the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, had announced him as his successor on the event of Ghadir. And that they were not the ones who were going to be pledging allegiance to the others who took the authority. Were there other schools in Islam at the time of Jamal? As in, when Imam Ali comes to the Battle of Jamal, is it Imam Ali's Shia versus Aisha's Sunnah? No. There's no Sunnah at the time of Jamal. Nothing. There's no one who's coming forward and saying, we are Sunni and they are Shia. In reality, Sunni Shia, its major wars in terms of sectarian problems occur hundreds of years later. Even the Abbasids, when you look at the problems between them, the Abbasids' problem was Banu Abbas versus Banu Hashim, not Sunni Shia. The Abbasids came back to Abbas, Imam al-Sadiq, Imam al-Kadhim back to Abu Talib, and there's a problem between the two. But what you found, therefore, is that after the Battle of Siffin, we now have another group that emerges in the Battle of Nahrawan, who are called Khawarij. The Khawarij are main group of kufr. When it comes to doing kufr or accusations of kufr against others. So, early Islam, Imam Ali, Jamal. Imam Ali, those who fight him at Jamal, he doesn't necessarily turn around and say, now you are Kaffir or Kaffira. You are still Ahl al-Qibla. You still believe in La ilaha illallah. You still believe in the Prophet of Allah. But unfortunately, your direction is one which is misguided, because even our non-Shia brothers say that Aisha was someone who somehow wanted to seek a repentance because she knew that she had completely done the wrong thing with Jamal. So, at the time of Jamal, there's one school, Shi'at Ali. There is no Shia Sunni. There's Shi'at Ali. They have an early identity that they follow the deen, the religion of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and this can be seen in their poetry. After Nahrawan, Khawarij. Khawarij, what are they? Khawarij are those who fought Imam Ali at Nahrawan. Khawarij respect Abu Bakr and they respect Umar. They disrespect Uthman and they disrespect Ali. Why do they disrespect Uthman? Remember, I'm showing you now how kufr accusations emerge. Why do they disrespect Uthman? They say Uthman was not just in his dealings when he was Khalifa, and that a leader must always be just. Okay. Then they had a problem with Imam Ali alayhi salam, which led them to believing in the kufr of Imam Ali alayhi salam. What was it? They said Imam Ali accepted the arbitration between Muawiyah and him. He should never accept that. And authority belongs to Allah. They fought Imam Ali at the Battle of Nahrawan because now to them, Imam Ali and his Shia were Kaffir. So the main people who first started accusations of kufr against others in the Muslim Ummah were the Khawarij. Of course, you'll see that the Khawarij, many people say ISIS are the Khawarij because ISIS sees other Muslims who do not subscribe to their worldview. Khawarij, if you don't subscribe to their worldview, you're Kaffir. Not just Kaffir, you are to be killed. If you don't subscribe to the worldview, you are to be killed. Khabbab ibn al-Arat. Khabbab ibn al-Arat was companion of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon his family. He had a son called Abdullah. Abdullah was traveling with his wife. The wife was pregnant. They came near a checkpoint. Khawarij stopped them. What's your name? It was Abdullah. Son of who? Son of Khabbab ibn al-Arat. What's your allegiance? Said Ali ibn Abi Talib. So, okay. Wife is the same. So, a person was walking. They said to him, what are you? He said, I am someone who's a mushrik. I don't believe in. He said, mushrik, you go. But you, your wife, come here. They took him, beheaded. The wife, they killed her. She's pregnant. They took the baby out of the womb. They literally decimated her body. Why? Hold on, the mushrik went through. He says, yes, Quran said, وَإِنْ أَحَدٌ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ اسْتَجَارَكَ فَأَجِرْ حَتَّى يَسْمَعْ كَلَامَ اللَّهِ. Quran says, when a mushrik comes to talk to you, talk to them. So, how about Abdullah bin No, Shia of Ali, Kaffir. Baba the mushrik. The mushrik, the one who is polytheist or whatever. No, but Quran says, if mushrik talks to you, they went towards a direction where for them, Shia were Kaffir. For them, anyone who did not subscribe to their worldview was Kaffir. And that's why those Khawarij, eventually when people would suffocate or they couldn't practice their religion, they migrated. They said in the same way Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated to ensure his religion was complete, we migrate as well. And they split into different groups. And one of the groups, ironically, which is one of the most soft groups you'll ever come across, really soft, ironic that they came on the Khawarij, are the Ibadis of Oman. Any of you go to Muscat, Oman, it is not Sunni and Shia, it is Ibadis. Ibadis are originally Khawarij, but the most diluted of the version. Someone says, okay, wait. So early Islam, there was Shia and Khawarij. Khawarij would call the Shia kuffar. So where's the term Sunni in this period? Yes? In that period, there was no term Sunni barring the odd mention of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah or Am al Jama'ah or Ahlul Sunnah or following the Sunnah. There's no crystallization as such. You had a couple of groups. One group were the Murji'ah and another were the Mu'tazila. What are their opinions on kufr? The Mu'tazila said, listen, a Muslim who's a sinner, that is a state between two states. Yes? Maybe you could say that that particular person, you could describe them as transgressing, but not as disbelieving. The Mu'tazila. The Murji'ah suspended judgment. I'm saying all of this, why? Because this whole idea that Sunni is the purest version of Islam or that Sunni is the original Islam was no such thing in the first 100 years of Islam. First 100 years of Islam, Shia, Khawarij, you would have the Murji'ah, you have the Mu'tazila, even those were debating in the time of Imam al-Rada alayhi salam. There were still debates going on as to even the nature of the Quran. Al-Ma'mun, the Abbasid Khalifa, was having problems with Ahmad bin Hanbal. Today, if you ask somebody, Al-Ma'mun, who does he subscribe to? Say Sunni. Ahmad bin Hanbal, one of the four fuqaha of the Sunni. They're still having an issue with each other, which is an issue that results even in accusations of kufr. So in the first 100 years of Islam, that kufr disease that existed was first begun by the Khawarij. The Khawarij calling the Shia of Ali Kaffir. Anyone who was a Shi'i was to be killed, or anyone who had support for Muawiyah, Uthman, or Ali, those people were to be beheaded. Question then arises, did the Muslim scholars seek to rectify this? Some of them did. Some Muslim scholars, like Al-Tahawi said, that you know what? Anyone who worships Allah faces the Qibla, you should never condemn them towards hellfire. Yes? If I see someone who is from Ahl al-Qibla, who believes in La ilaha illallah, believes in the prophethood of the Holy Prophet, believes in the Day of Judgment, you should never condemn. This is Shia, it's even Shia, not to be condemned. You had scholars who were non-Shia who would say things like this. That question puts up another question. For example, Ahmadiyya, are they to be classified as Kaffir or not? Are the Ahmadis to be classified as Kaffir? Wait, if the definition of Muslim, what is it? Definition of Muslim is anyone who believes in one God and believes in the prophethood of the Holy Prophet as well as all the other prophets. Yes? Those are usul ad-din. Those are the pillars of the religion of Islam. Which pillars that Muslims come to agree on? Tawheed, Nubuwwah, and Qiyamah. Don't we all agree? If you ask any Muslim in the street today, what are the pillars of the religion? Which I can be counted as a Muslim for? Tawheed, Nubuwwah, Qiyamah. I'm automatically counted as a Muslim. I look at the Ahmadiyya, for example. Ahmadis believe in Allah. Yes, they do. Do they believe that the Prophet was chosen and sent by Allah? Yes, they do. Then the question here, a debate arises. Am I to place them as kufr or no? As kafirs or not? There are some who don't touch this issue because it's a sensitive issue. There are others who've never heard of Ahmadis in their lives, so that's a completely different ball game. But then there are others, whether you live in London or you live in Pakistan, Ahmadiyya have a very sizable, even India, have a sizable community. Us, we have to still discuss this. Why? Because if I see someone believing in La ilaha illallah and Muhammad Rasulullah, someone says, but Sayyidina, they don't believe in the finality of the prophethood. They say Khatam Nabiyin. Khatam doesn't refer to him being the seal literally, but rather what? Not metaphorically, but rather literally. Seal. What's a seal? A seal, you can have a seal with your ring. Or you can mean finality. So Ahmadis don't believe necessarily in the finality in the way we believe it. Yes, but they believe that Rasulullah sent by Allah. They believe that he is the messenger of Allah. These other areas are open to question. Can I jump and say kufr? Someone says, but you don't understand Zionists, these are Zionists, CIA, MI6. So no problem. You have your own research about what you want to call Ahmadis or others. But ultimately, the bottom line is the usul of the deen. If someone believes in La ilaha illallah, someone believes in Muhammad Rasulullah, isn't that enough for them not to be called kafir? Imam al-Rada salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. How many of us narrate this on the wilada of Imam al-Rada alayhi salam? Kalimat la ilaha illallah. The words la ilaha illallah are my fortress. Whoever enters my fortress is safe from my punishment. Kalimat la ilaha illallah. That means, look at the extension. Imam al-Rada alayhi salam said, Kalimat la ilaha illallah husni, faman dakhila husni amina min adhabi. If now an Ahmadi believes in La ilaha illallah, and I as Shia believe in La ilaha illallah, and a Sunni believes in La ilaha illallah, isn't that enough for us to be all saved from being at least punished here? Here. You want to talk about the hereafter, leave God for the hereafter. But here, if I now see Ahmadi on the street of London, someone says to me, Sayyidina, you know, these are kafirs. Kafirs, why? Because they don't believe in the finality. That finality issue, is it one of the main parts of Nubuwwah or one of the Juz'iyat? Is it debatable? Is there a yes-no answer for it? Nubuwwah they believe. Rasulullah they believe. What happens if someone believes in somebody after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi? Does it lead to kufr or no? When it came to us Shia, if someone today was to come and ask you this question, and I will go further tomorrow on this issue. If someone today asks you, you are a Shia, I want you to explain to me as a Shi'i, where is your book which explains your belief system? Even now, imagine you want to marry a girl and you're together with this girl at work and she goes, listen, I'm not Shia. I want to know more about Shia. Where's your belief? Where's your book of aqaid? We reply that our books of aqaid are available. What is our books of aqaid? Which books would you give somebody? I ask all of you now, even if you want, you can answer me. I ask you now if there's a book on aqaid, on our belief system. So it's literally a Shia A to Z or encyclopedia, which explains simply, for example, 45 codes of Shia belief. Which book would you give? What I would do is naturally, I would look for a book where the derivatives of aqidah or the word aqidah are the title. So I would go to Al-I'tiqadat of Sheikh al-Saduq. Saduq was asked by the scholars of Nishapur to write on the Shia belief system. I go to those Shia beliefs. Why do I say this? Because those of you who shouted Shia Kaffir, Shia Kaffir, Ya Habibi, our aqaid are available online, on Google. Go and type Al-I'tiqadat. And on Al-I'tiqadat, you'll see Saduq's book with 45 chapters of Shia and what we believe. That's the manual that you can give for this issue. When we, the Shia, therefore, when we believed, what did we believe? We believed in Allah. Yes. Like the rest of the Muslim Ummah. We believed in the prophets of Allah. Yes. Like the rest of the Muslim Ummah. We believe in the Quran. Yes. Like the rest of the Muslim Ummah. We believe in Qiyamah. Yes. Like the rest of the Muslim Ummah. But we had an allegiance towards Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. An allegiance towards the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. That allegiance led to not just kufr of us, but led to persecution in every century of this religion's history. Every century of this religion's history, we the Shia have either been called kuffar or we have been killed because of our Shia belief. Someone says where? Firstly, we were obviously persecuted by Bani Umayyah and their henchmen. Everybody can see that as clear as day. Then the Abbasids executed us because of our allegiance to Bani Hashim instead of our allegiance to Banu al-Abbas, to the extent that the grandsons of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam would be beheaded in the streets because of being Shia. In the famous incident, all of you know about the incident of Fakh. Then after that, this was during the life of the Imams. Any of you want to read the book? If you can read, I don't think it's in English, but in Arabic it's definitely there. Maqatil al-Talibiyin. Maqatil al-Talibiyin. The killings of the Talibids. The killings of who? Repeat after me. The killing of the Talibids. Maqatil al-Talibiyin. Abu al-Faraj al-Isfahani has a book called Maqatil al-Talibiyin. A list of all the Talibids who were executed and killed. Lists of one after the other. Why? Why are you killing me? Why? For what reason? Because of my allegiance to who? My allegiance to Ali and my dissociation from the enemies of Ali. You looked after the ghaib of the 12th Imam. Where did that persecution go? I'm going to give you a timeline because some of our Shia today think that we got where we got to easily. Easy. Sit in mosques with air condition now, and we can chill, and we can have azadari as we please. They don't know the lives that were lost so for us to get here. You go to the time of Sheikh al-Tusi, Baghdad became the center of killing fields because you were Shia. Of course, the other side had their reason. The other side said, you cursed Muawiyah. Yes, we do. It's true. We do. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I cannot deny it. It's as much as the Shia want to say that, you know what, when someone puts them on the spot, you say, do you curse Muawiyah? And you'll see some Shia will say, no, start up. No, we do. So why am I going to beat around the bush? My literature is all available online. It's all available online. I'm going to come to this vital point very shortly. So some Shia in the time in Baghdad, after the ghaib of the Imam, you know the Shia in Baghdad lived in the area called Karkh. Yes? There's some Shia would curse Muawiyah and others. Others would come back with an absolute bloodbath of the Shia community. Me cursing Muawiyah, one question please, I want to ask all of you, everyone watching. Does it mean I stop believing in Allah? If I curse Muawiyah, have I stopped believing in Allah? No, I still say La ilaha illallah proudly. Me cursing Muawiyah doesn't mean I stop believing in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. No. Does it mean I stop salah towards the Kaaba? No. So am I still a Muslim technically? Because this is a vital point. Can I still be a Muslim and curse Muawiyah? If Islam is about La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, how did Muawiyah become part of Aqaid? Hold on, let's come back again. I believe in La ilaha illallah and I believe in Muhammad Rasulullah. We all agree? And I follow Hajj and Salah and Sawm and Hajj and Zakat and Khums and Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar Tawalla Tabarra and all of that. I believe in the angels and I believe in Qiyamah. But I am somebody who dissociates from Muawiyah and from Abu Sufyan and from Yazid and others. Why do I become Kaffir? How do I become Kaffir? I still believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. Since when did Abu Sufyan's son become part of Kufr and Iman? When does that occur? That's certainly not early Islam, because early Islam, a person who believed in La ilaha illallah and Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi is automatically a Muslim. Unless, hear me properly now, unless you add to the usul ad-din. Please hear me on this point, it's vital. If you add to the usul ad-din, now the question is, what can you add? As a Shi'i, I'm accused of adding imamah. As a Shi'i, I'm accused of adding imamah. But non-Shia added their own usul. If you ask a non-Shi'i, what are the usul? He says, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasul. No. There's a third one. It's a big one. What's the third of the usul ad-din of the non-Shi'i? The third of the usul ad-din is adalat al-sahaba, the ultimate decency of the sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. We agree? Ultimate decency. I as a Shi'i, how many imams I believe in? 12. But I believe they're ma'soom. You ripped me because I believe 12 were infallible. You ripped me because I believe 12 were infallible. You made 100,000 infallible. Come back again. Let's go back. Usul ad-din, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. Shia added imamah. Added. Yeah? Although, of course, we believe imamah is part of Islam. Because Ya Ayyuhar Rasul Balligh was during his life. Ghadir was during his life. So for us, imamah is part. I don't mind, by the way, if you add the ultimate decency of the Sahaba as one of the usul ad-din. I've got no issue. The same way you could have ijtihad when it came to what is history and theology, likewise I can have. You decided 100,000 people who ate, talked, saw, sat, whatever, with the Prophet became part of usul ad-din. I decided 12 people who ate, sat, talked, lived, inherited from the Holy Prophet, they became part of usul ad-din. Why then am I Kaffir? Why am I Kaffir? For what reason? When did ultimate decency of the Sahaba become usul ad-din? When? When did it become usul ad-din? I thought the Sahaba, the Quran, I think makes it very clear. Amongst the Sahaba are those whose examples are in the Torah and the Injil. Don't we read the ayah Muhammadun Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam? وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ أَشِدَّاءُ عَلَى الْكُفَّارِ رُحَمَاءُ بَيْنَهُمْ تَرَاهُمْ رُكَّعًا سُجَّدًا يَبْتَغُونَ فَضْلًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانًا سِيمَاهُمْ فِي وُجُوهِهِمْ مِنْ أَثَرِ السُّجُودِ ذَلِكَ مَثَلُهُمْ فِي التَّوْرَاةِ وَمَثَلُهُمْ فِي الْإِنْجِيلِ. Surah 48 verse 29. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah and those who are with him, firm against the disbelievers, merciful amongst themselves. You see them in ruku' and sujood, gaining the pleasure of Allah. The marks of prostration are on their forehead. Their example are in the Torah. Their example is in the Bible. I respect that. Wallah, I believe that there are those who are with Rasulullah. that they are equivalent to those who came before Rasulullah. Abu Dhar al-Ghafari, Salman al-Muhammadi, Hudayf al-Yaman, Abdullah bin Mas'ud, Al-Miqdad ibn al-Aswad, Abu Sa'id al-Khidri, Khuzaymah bin Thabit. How many more companions do you want me to name you? Then I believe that there are others who don't reach that same level. And the Quran mentioned that there are companions who claim to be with the Prophet and that they may have ended up even towards the world of hypocrisy. As one hadith says, you do not know what they did after you, O Prophet of God, on the pool of Kawthar. So now, when I look at this, Baba, I don't mind. Your Usul al-Din, be proud to admit 1. Tawheed, 2. Belief in angels, 3. Prophets, 4. Day of Judgment, 5. Ultimate decency of the companions. My Usul al-Din, Tawheed, and I believe in Nubuwwah, and I believe in Imamah, and I believe in the Day of Judgment. Okay? Those are my Usul al-Din. But even though that was there, we were still persecuted. Baghdad, we were persecuted. After Baghdad, where are we called kufr? You look, for example, some of our scholars who were literally killed for being Shia. Nothing else. Just for being Shia. That's it. Shia. Baba, I believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. I pray towards the Qibla. How can I be Kaffir? How can I be Kaffir? Because you dissociate from the companions. Hold on, wait. You've reached the conclusion that companions make up Aqidah. I reach it, but I also reach the conclusion that there are some who dissociated themselves by fighting the family of the Prophet. One of our great scholars got the title Shaheed because of being persecuted and killed because he's Shia. Shaheed al-Awwal. Shaheed al-Awwal. Go to Lebanon, there's a village called Jazin. He was from that village. Great alim, because he was Shia. They beheaded him, they hung his body and put it on the corpse. And they burnt it. Shaheed al-Awwal's book, Al-Lum'a al-Damashqiyya, studied by all maraji', all ulama. Why was he killed? Because he was Shia. You go to Uzbekistan, Central Asia, Uzbekistan, wallah, there are people. Uzbekistan, Central Asia. We're talking a few hundred years ago, because they were Shia, they were made into slaves or they were executed. Shamsuddin Harati and others would give fatwas. And this is where the problem is on the first level. Please focus on this. The first problem is the fatwas. And the fatwas, by the way, can happen both sides. Please bear with me. The first side is if there's a fatwa that says Rawafid are kuffar, and if you doubt that they are kuffar, then you are a kafir. It's phenomenal. Ibn Taymiyyah has a book. The book is available everywhere. It's called As-Sarim al-Maslul ala Shatim al-Rasul. The unsheathed sword on the one who abuses the Prophet. It's a phenomenal title. You have to give the title immense credit. It's an absolutely phenomenal. As-Sarim al-Maslul ala Shatim al-Rasul. And in that book, he narrates Imam Ali saying that I heard from the Prophet, there will come a time after us, there's a group called the Rawafid. Whoever doubts their kufr is a kafir. And I'm not going to say that Ibn Taymiyyah necessarily professes this always in public, but in Sarim al-Mas'ud, now look, there's a fatwa there. I'm not going to say non-Shia all believe this. There are many non-Shia who believe that we are Muslim, but they differ with us on theology. But when you have a book, and sometimes you hear people saying that you guys make films which are sectarian. Please listen to this. You guys make films which are sectarian. I reply, okay, let's have a bargaining process. You say these films are sectarian. First, I'll discuss that. What is it? You say a film is sectarian. Or anything I'm going to make is going to be called sectarian if it differs from your ijtihad on history. Anything. Anything. If I differ with your ijtihad in history, for example, if I show a film just on the Battle of Uhud, Battle of Uhud, famous companions ran away. Am I allowed to make a film in Britain about it? Actually, not me, nor anyone else. Joe Blogs, or Ali Blogs in the community, say that he made a film on the Battle of Uhud. Am I allowed to show everything? Or no? Or you dictate what I'm allowed to show? 1 second. You dictate what I'm allowed to show because you have your own version of history. So why can't I have my version? What is it? What's haram about me having my version? When you say to me that your films are sectarian, let's bargain on this. How shall we bargain? You remove As-Sarim al-Maslul from every bookshelf in the UK, and we will at the same time try our hardest to make sure that films which are provocative are removed. Who are you to ask for an offer? You're 15% of the Muslim world. You're talking to a blue chip company. You see, sometimes people don't understand the mentality. I own a company worth £7 billion. You own a company worth 1 million. Why in God's name are you trying to make an offer with me and bargain? I make the deal. I'm the one who's 80% of the Muslim world. You make a deal with me. The problem has always been the bullying tactic that's used against others. Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, the way he went after the Ismaili Shia. No one mentions that. Salah ad-Din is the great Saladin and Richard the Lionheart. Why don't you mention the way he persecuted the Ismailis? The Fatimid Empire, which was the Ismaili Shia. Why don't you mention Salah ad-Din in that light? No. History is only written by us. No, it's not. History is a science of ijtihad. You have your reading, I have my reading. How dare you call me Kaffir for my reading? You disagree with a version of history of mine. Why can I not present my version? Islam, my dear brothers and sisters, does not have one version of history. Islam has a number of readings of history. So when someone today comes and says fatwas, the Sunni, alim, going towards the Salafis, he says whoever doubts that Rawafid are kuffar, then he himself becomes a kafir. That's on the one side. But then also with our side, it's not like that we never had problems. Listen, the Safawids and the Ottomans was not a healthy period. The Shia have their problems with the Ottomans, and the Ottomans had their problem with the Safawids. And not everything can be brought down to simple Sunni Shia polemics. However, when a person turns around and says to me that you people are sectarian, I have to admit, if I look at Majlis's Bihar, I might find something that says that those who are not Shia, they are at least internally kafir. And the 12th Imam will expose that. That also exists in my book as well. If I want the world to move forward, I have to show what's in my book and what's theirs. Our Shia ulama believe that non-Shia externally are Muslim. Internally, they go towards a direction in one of their discussions, but the majority go towards it that non-Shia Muslims internally are disbelievers. Because of the rejection of wilayah of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. But externally, no. Externally they are Muslims. And that is the way that we judge them on the external. But if it was qiyamah, they'll go towards that direction. Someone says that, does that mean if we want to move away from a world of takfir between Muslims, that we should stop discussing these sensitive issues? There has been a campaign. I saw a press conference on YouTube about a month ago, where Sunni and Shia ulama had got together. And these Sunni and Shia ulama had got together, and they were saying that there needs to be unity. Unity is a slogan that everybody throws without having the deeper understanding. Unity is not something that's going to happen theologically. Take it from me, theologically. What we should be looking at is how can we as Muslims coexist but have different narratives of history. That is where we head. When a person just throws unity, as I heard one scholar say it in one video, I was in disbelief. Baba, taqiyya has a limit, but don't go that far, I beg you. I heard one who said, how could I attack the early caliphs when one of them is Imam al-Sadiq's great-grandfather? Well, but I don't know. Abu Lahab is Prophet's uncle. Allah destroyed him. Someone says, but if we don't talk about these things, If we talk about these early history, someone said, then we're going to be called Kafirs, and in Pakistan people will kill us. Have you ever seen an Urdu lecture in Pakistan or no? By a Shia. Have you seen one or no? Say if Said Ammar gives a lecture, or anyone else gives a lecture discussing Fadak or Saqifa, then in Pakistan, Shia will get killed. If I give a lecture discussing Fadak, have you ever seen an Urdu majlis in Pakistan? Have you ever seen one? They don't need me to give lectures. They can cause enough trouble themselves. Urdu majalis, when Turabi died, after Turabi died, went into a direction where literally majalis were purely tabarra, 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 tabarra without saying the names. You need me to give lectures. You need me. If I give a lecture in England, it's going to cause a problem in Pakistan. Go listen to the ones in Pakistan. They don't need me. Urdu majalis themselves need a major reform for two reasons. The first reason is if you think those hints, hint, you're giving on mimbar, people don't know who you're talking about, you got to wake up and smell the coffee. Everyone now knows who you're talking about. Secondly, because the youth are now getting bored of that direction. The youth want something a bit more intellectual at least, rather than how am I going to bash the caliphs for 1 hour for 12 nights. There's no other topic, just bash them. No other topic. Because you bashing them, at least bring some other topic for the love of God. What's the topic? Quran and Ahlul Bayt. What's the topic? Wilayat Imam Ali. What's the topic? Greatness of Imam Ali. What's the topic? Badness of Saqifa. What's the topic? Badness of Jamal. What's the topic? Is there no other topic in Islam? Just those every year in Karachi? There's no other topic in Islamabad? No other topic in Lahore? No other topic in Mumbai? No other topic in Delhi? You come and tell us that we shouldn't dissect history. Baba, I have every right to dissect history. But, nor do we need to dissect it in a way where we're going to insult and make fun and make jokes on the mimbar and the crowd's going, wow, wow, wow. Okay, mashallah, the crowd's doing wow, wow for you. And the crowd's gone buck wild. But for what? For what reason? What's being achieved? The problem isn't the topic, rather it's the analysis and where it heads. We can analyze early history and no one can dictate to us what we can and we can't analyze. Each and every one of us has the right to analyze. And some people who are saying, don't discuss these early issues. So what shall we do? Shall we begin to scrap Fatimiyya now? Shall we end Fatimiyya? No more Fatima al-Zahra Shahada? Shall we begin to scrap it? Because someone says it's better we don't discuss these things. So let's scrap this. And then one day we'll scrap Karbala and Ashura. When we discuss these, we are Muslims who have every right as people of the Qibla, people of La ilaha illallah and Muhammad Rasulullah, we have every right to discuss our history. Because the only way forward is not Shia Sunni unity. The way forward is that my Sunni brother and sister has their ijtihad on history and I have my ijtihad on history. And on the particulars of Usul al-Din, they have their ijtihad, I have my ijtihad. Your ijtihad, if you honestly and sincerely, and that's why when someone says to me, do you believe non-Shia are kafir? I always say no. Someone says, what do you mean? I say a non-Shia is not a kafir. While he says, La ilaha illallah, and he says Muhammad Rasulullah, he is not a kafir. He is a Muslim. And I will always look as a Muslim. And there's a third point. And that is, who am I to judge how much of Islam and its real origin reached him? What do I mean? Someone who's not Shia, don't judge them the way you judge yourself. There are some who've never heard what took place at Saqifa. Wallah. There are some believe you me, go in a taxi in North Africa. Go in a taxi in North Africa. When you enter that taxi, ask the driver. The driver, he'll ask you, where are you from? For example, if you ask me, where am I from? I'll say, Iraq. Say, which part of Iraq? I say, I'm from Najaf. Not Baghdad? Because first thing is Baghdad. Nightclubs, ladies, da-da-da. No. Where am I from? Najaf. Najaf, okay, Najaf. Najaf, what's there? This credit of what's there goes to a few people. Amongst them, Saddam Hussein. Big credit to him. Because Saddam Hussein made sure if you finish Majlis al-Husayn, you finish the Shia. Ban Majalis al-Husayn. If you go today to the Hijaz, in the eastern province, there are Majalis. Dammam and Qatif and the Ahsan. You go to Bahrain, Manama is called the second Karbala. Saddam Hussein's Iraq, not a sniff of a Majlis. 77 till 03, you had to hide to do a Majlis. That's called persecution. Yes? So now, if I look at a non-Shia, will I ever say Kaffir? No way, because only Allah can judge what came to them. If I am seeing someone who blatantly knows about Imam Ali and Ghadir and wants to be obstinate, even then I cannot judge, because only Allah can judge them. Only Allah can judge. Never can I look at another Muslim and say he's a Kaffir. Yes, there might be a term of Nawasib, that's a different story. The one who has hate for Ahlul Bayt, that's a different story. But to see another Muslim, I will never shout outside a cinema, Sunni are this or Sunni are that. No. My problem, Ahl Sunnah, the people, I have no issue with whatsoever at all. Nothing. I discuss their theories and their history. The people sometimes can be better than my people in akhlaq, can be closer to me as friends. But discussing history and theology, that is not a problem. And that's why we tell all of our youth that don't be of those who is scared about discussing your history. Be proud of it. Be proud to defend the principles of Ahlul Bayt. Be proud with your Shia identity and appreciate that others have their identity, we have ours. They have their history which is true, we have ours. They have their hadiths which are weak, we have ours as well. Appreciate, but be ready always to defend your religion. And remember one slogan in your life. What is it? Inni uhami abadan an dini. Who said that slogan? One man. He had just lost his right arm. Yes. Many times people don't understand Abul Fadl. Why? Because all they hear is just the musibah without focusing on the words of the musibah. Abul Fadl, something remarkable about him. And that is not just his defense of wilayah, number one. Defense of nubuwah, defense of tawheed. He ultimately, when he begins to lose what he loses, have you ever, I ask you, seen anyone recite poetry while bleeding? I ask you, think about this. Think about it in your life. If I get a small injury, say my toenail breaks or comes off, wallah, I'll be screaming. If you ask me at that moment, recite a poem, I'll say, what poem? But if I lost my arm, I will be in even more anguish, unless the level of insight I have reached is the highest level. Unless the level of yaqeen that I've reached is the highest level. Unless the level of bliss I have achieved spiritually is the highest level of bliss any human being can ever achieve. People ask, why? Why, Aba Abdullah, when Abbas kept on asking you, let me go out on the battlefield? Why would Aba Abdullah keep saying, not now, until Imam al-Husayn would say to him, go and get water? Why not just let him go out? And their answer is that Imam al-Husayn wanted to tell Abul Fadl that your real enemy, Abbas, is not those opposition. Your real enemy is your own nafs. If you can get past your nafs, then you, Abbas, will see bliss like you've never ever seen before. You'll begin to recite couplets of poetry. You'll see yourself at the highest level, where death is just a bridge for you for the hereafter. And truly, wallah, when you look at his lines, you realize the effect that this particular jihad in nafs victory had on Abul Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. But the saddest thing is the effect that it has on Zainab and on Sukaina and the daughters of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam. Because Abul Fadl was everything for the children on that day. What made him leave? What made him leave was while he was discussing with Aba Abdullah, he heard a cry. They both were standing looking at each other. They heard a cry. Imagine that tear or that cry from your own children. children. Al-atash, al-atash, al-atash. There are those of you here who have children. When you see your daughter or your son cry a little bit, you run to them. But when you notice they're thirsty, you straight away want to quench their thirst. Abul Fadl, his heart could not take hearing al-atash, al-atash. He looked towards Abu Abdullah. Imam al-Husayn said to him, Abul Fadl, go and get us some water. Every year we remember this, but look at us, it breaks our heart. Every year we remember these lines. He said to him, go and get water for the children. Sukaina looked towards him, uncle, they're all thirsty around me, especially the 6-month-old baby. She looked towards him, Zainab looked towards him. They knew that this was the time that they would bid him farewell. He went towards that water of the Furat. When he got closer to the water, the soldiers began to attack Abul Fadl. They attacked him, but whose son is he? He's al-Banin's boy. Yes. He wanted to make his mother proud and his father Amir al-Mu'mineen proud. When he went past them, they had come towards the Furat. His lips were dry from the thirst. When he came towards the water, imagine holding that cold water in your hand and you haven't drunk water for a while. His nafs was saying to him, drink. But how can I drink water while my master is thirsty? Yes. He came out and he called out, Ya nafsu min ba'd al-Husayn huni. He called out, oh nafs, how is it that I can come out and drink? And my brother's about to drink the syrup of death. He carried the water back. On his way, as he's returning, one of the men struck his right arm. If someone struck your right arm, you would think that you would be in anguish. No. Wallah inqata'tum yamini inni uhami abadan an dini. Wallah, if you cut off my right arm, I'll forever protect this religion. Wa an imam sadiq al-yaqini. I'll protect an imam who's truthful and full of certainty. Najla al-Nabi al-Tahir al-Amini, the grandson of the pure prophet. He tried to hold on now with his left arm. The problem is now that if that arm goes, the alam's about to fall. And if the alam falls, Sukaina falls. And if Sukaina falls, Zainab falls. He came back, he was holding on the alam. He could see that they had surrounded him now. He called out again, he's talking to his nafs. Ya nafs la takhshay min al-kuffari. Oh nafs, don't be scared of the kuffar. Remember this line forever. Ya nafs la takhshay min al-kuffari wabshiri bi rahmat al-jabbari. Be ready for the merciful Jabbar. Ma'a al-Nabi Syed al-Mukhtari. Alongside the chosen prophet of Allah, they took the left arm of Abul Fadl. Now Abul Fadl was trying to hold on. Harmala bin Kahin's arrow hit the eye of Abul Fadl. Normally when someone falls, they fall with their arms in front of them, except Abbas. He fell without his arms. He called out, my master Abu Abdullah. Imam al-Husayn running towards him. Imagine that scene. When he came, he couldn't tell who is it. All he called out is, I tell you all, please don't strike me until I see my master. Imam al-Husayn came, he took him, but Abbas moved his head. Imam took him again. Abbas moved his head. Look at the loyalty of Abul Fadl. Imam al-Husayn said to him, my brother Abbas, what's wrong? He said, Aba Abdullah, at this moment you carry my head. Who's gonna carry your head? Allahu Akbar. I say to him, Aba al-Fadl, Shimr walked towards his head. He said to him, Aba Abdullah, I ask you for one thing. What is it? Tell me. He said, leave me here. Don't take me back. I promised Husayn I'd come back with water. Allahu Akbar. Aba Abdullah wanted something from him. What did he want? He said, Abbas, I ask you for one thing. He said, what is it? Call me your brother. Allah, Allah. Call me your brother. Don't call me master. He said to him, Akhi Aba Abdullah. In the past he had only said Sayyidi Aba Abdullah. When Imam al-Husayn returned, he looked towards the lady. Zainab said, where is he? Tell me. Tell me, where is he? Sukaina's crying, looking for his body. Allahu Akbar. Zainab never forgot this moment. When she returned to Karbala, she went to his grave, yes. All those months later, she came back, yes. She came near his grave. She said, where were you when they slapped us? Where were you when they attacked our hijabs? Ruqayya called out your name. Ma'tam al-Husayn, ya Husayn, ya Husayn.
Ho chuke bekas imam, jang hui bhai bhi kaam aa chuka, lo alam aata hai. Mashke sakina ki bhi lo hai ye bandh rahi, khoon mein dooba hua, lo alam aata hai. Tumne pehlu kiya khali, to kamar toot gayi. Phir kale jaise juda ho gaya, bhai Abbas. Hai wo Shah ka kehna mere bhai Abbas. Kabhi Maula, kabhi Aqa, to kabhi sarwar ke siwa اور کوئی بات زباں پر نہ آئی. عباس سر پیٹ کے بولے حرم آیا علم عباس کا سر پیٹ عباس کا سر پیٹ عباس کا پنجہ نظر جب آ گیا ہنس کر سکینہ نے کہا بے آب تھے بے تاب ہم آیا علم عباس کا سر پی عباس کا سر پیٹ عباس کا مارا گیا تیرا چچا جہاں اپنی کی تجھ پر فدا دینے کو درد و رنج و غم آیا علم عباس کا سر پیٹ عباس کا سر پیٹ عباس کا زینب نے رو رو کر کہا نادان تو سمجھی ہے کیا جب لائے سلطان امم آیا علم عباس کا سر پیٹ عباس کا سر پیٹ کے بولے حرم آیا علم عباس کا یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین
میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا قافلہ کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے چل پڑا قافلہ میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے اے میرے باوفا اے بہن بیردا میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے سپرو تجھ کو دیکھے بنا چین آتا نہیں نوکے نیزہ پہ سر تیرا ملتا نہیں میں زیارت کروں کس طرح یہ بتا میرے غازی گیر سے لاج رکھ لو بہن کی برادر میرے خاک مقتل میرے سر کا پردہ بنے حکم دے دو ذرا منتظر ہے ہوا میرے غازی کہاں ہو تیری جاگیر سے سر کو کتا کے دین پہ، سر کو کتا کے دین پہ، خود کربلا میں گر دیا تو نے حسین یا حسین، 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 یا حسین، یا حسین، یا حسین، یا حسین، یا حسین.
محمد وآل محمد. ان اللہ ملائکۃ یصلون علی النبی یا ایھا الذین آمنوا صلوا علیہ وسلموا تسلیما. سبحان اللہ والحمد للہ ولا الہ الا اللہ واللہ اکبر وللہ الحمد. اللہ اکبر، اللہ اکبر، اللہ اکبر، اللہ اکبر. اشہد ان لا الہ الا اللہ، اشہد ان لا الہ الا اللہ، اشہد ان محمد رسول اللہ، اشہد ان محمد رسول اللہ، اشہد ان امیر المومنین و امام المتقین علی ولی اللہ، اشہد ان امیر المومنین و امام المتقین علی حجۃ اللہ. حی علی الصلاۃ، حی علی الصلاۃ، حی علی الفلاح، حی علی الفلاح، حی علی خیر العمل، حی علی خیر العمل. اللہ اکبر، اللہ اکبر، لا الہ الا اللہ، لا الہ الا اللہ. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. علامت قلبی بارہ اپنے شکارت جلت نبی کا محمد مصطفیٰ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم مستقرار برحمتک یا رحم الراحمین. اللہم صلی اللہ.
اللہ اکبر، اللہ اکبر. اشہد ان لا الہ الا اللہ، اشہد ان لا الہ الا اللہ. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله. وأشهد أن عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. استغفر الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته قوم واقعد واركع واسجد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربي. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. رب اغفر لي ولوالدي وارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. اجزهما بالإحسان إحسانا وبالسيئات عفوا وغفرانا. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته قوم واقعد واركع واسجد. سبحان الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين المستجيب. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك موجبات رحمتك وعزائم مغفرتك والنجاة من النار ومن كل بلية والفوز بالجنة والرضوان في دار السلام وجوار نبيك محمد عليه وآله السلام. اللهم ما بنا من نعمة فمنك، لا إله إلا أنت، أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
الله إياك سمع الله. حول الله. سمع الله. الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد. السلام عليك أيها. السلام علينا. السلام عليكم. I will be reciting Salat al-Isha Qasr. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Aliyan Waliyullah, وأشهد أن عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح، حي على خير العمل، حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس، ملك الناس، إله الناس، من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد وأركع وأسجد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد، الله الصمد، لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربي. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا لطيف أرحم عبدك الضعيف. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إنه ليس لعلم بموضع رزقي، وإنما أطلبه بخطرات تخطر على قلبي، فأجول في طلبه البلدان، فأنا فيما أنا طالب كالحيران، لا أدري في سهل هو أم في جبل، أم في أرض أم في سماء، أم في بر أم في بحر، وعلى يدي من ومن قبل من، وقد علمت أن علمه عندك وأسبابه بيدك، وأنت الذي تقسمه بلطفك وتسببه برحمتك. اللهم فصل على محمد وآله، واجعل يا رب رزق لي واسعا، ومطلبه سهلا، ومأخذه قريبا، ولا تعنني بطلب ما لم تقدر لي فيه رزقا، فإنك غني عن عذابي وأنا فقير إلى رحمتك. فصل على محمد وآله، وجد على عبدك بفضلك، إنك ذو فضل عظيم.
السلام عليك وعلى جدك وأبيك، السلام عليك ولأمك وأخيك، السلام عليك الذي تسقط المعصومين من ذريتك وبنيك، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام عليك يا شمس الشموس، السلام عليك يا أنيس النفوس، أيها المدفون بأرض طوس يا أبا الحسن، يا علي بن موسى روحي وجسمي وقلبي لك الفداء، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب النصر والزمان، سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك إمام الإنس والجان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. We're going to commence with a small marsiya before we start the Matamdari program. I request all the Azadar to please come and join us, inshallah. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. وعجل فرجهم بار دیگر باز بلند نعرہ صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وعجل فرجهم. On the 10th of Muharram, 61 AH, Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam was standing at the door of his tents. He could see the flag of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas in the distance in the battlefield, and he saw that it began to bend one way, and then it began to rock the other way, and then eventually it fell to the ground altogether. Imam Husayn turned to his sister Zainab and said, "Oh Zainab, my Abbas has fallen to the floor." Imam Husayn ran to the body of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. And Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas looked up at Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam and said, "Oh Master, I have one request from you." And Imam al-Husayn said, "What?" And Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas said, "Oh my master, my whole life has been spent, and my mother told me that when I first was born, I never opened my eyes except that I saw you for the very first time. And now in my final moments, I want to do one final ziyarah of you. But one eye is filled with blood, and in the other eye I have an arrow. Oh my master, if it's not too much trouble, please with the hem of your abba, please clean the blood from my eye. And I wouldn't even give you that much difficulty if both of my hands were with me." Imam al-Husayn cleaned the blood from the eye of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. And Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, with his deepest heart, did this final ziyarah of Imam al-Husayn. And Imam al-Husayn then says to his brother, "Oh Abbas, your final desire has been fulfilled. Now I also have one desire." And Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas said, "What?" And Imam al-Husayn says, "Your entire life has been spent in front of me. You've either called me master, you've called me imam, you've never once called me your brother. Now for the final time, call me your brother." He says, "I بچپن میں تیرا جھولا بچپن میں تیرا جھولا ہاتھوں سے جھلایا تھا ہاتھوں کو تیرے لے کر چلنا بھی سکھایا تھا اب ان ہاتھوں سے میں کس طرح اٹھاؤں گا بن بازو یہ لاش تیری فریاد سنو میری ایک بار مجھے بھائی کہہ کر تو بلا غازی تیروں کے مسلح پر سرکوں میں کٹاؤں گا کیا دیکھ سکو گے تم میں خون میں نہاؤں گا زخمی میرے سینے سے ہر خون کی قطرے سے آواز آئے گی ہاں فریاد سنو میری ایک بار مجھے بھائی کہہ کر تو بلا غازی او سنتے ہو سکینہ کے لب پر ہے فغاں بھائی لوٹاؤ میرے امو پانی نہیں مانگوں گی اب روٹھ نہ جاؤ تم اتنا تو ذرا سوچو مر جائے گی وہ بچی. فریاد سنو میری ایک بار مجھے بھائی کہہ کر تو بھلا غازی. And then Abul Fadl Abbas says, رخ کر کے نجف کا پھر غازی نے کہا بابا اب پاس نہیں بازو میں کیا کروں یا زہرا مولا ہے اکیلا ہاں کربل میں بچی ہے بس شبیر کی تنہائی. فریاد سنو میری ایک بار مجھے بھائی کہہ کر تو بلا غازی. سن کر یہ صدا شہ کی عباس کا تن تڑپا جلتی ہوئی ریتی پر غازی کا بدن لرزا. کیسے میری آقا میں جاؤں در خیمے پر جب پاس نہیں پانی. فریاد سنو میری ایک بار مجھے بھائی کہہ کر تو بلا غازی. کربل میں تجانی تھی شبیر کی یہ حالت ایک بار کہو بھائی پوری ہو میری حسرت. عباس کے ہونٹوں سے ایک بار صدا آئی شبیر میرے بھائی. یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین. Ya Husayn, Ya Husayn, Ya Husayn, Husayn, Ya Husayn, Ya Husayn, Husayn. عباس نہ لوٹے مقتل کی زمین بھاگ گئی. عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق گئی. عباس نہ لوٹے اس شان سے مقتل کو سدھا رات علمدار. اس شام سے مقتل کو سدھارا تھا علمدار. ادا کی نظر کھا گئی
لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس بہتا ہوا کانوں سے لہو سوکھے ہوئے لب بہتا ہوا کانوں سے لہو سوکھے ہوئے لب دکھلانے سکینہ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے دیتی رہی آواز پہ آواز سکینہ دیتی رہی آواز پہ آواز سکینہ آخر کو قضا گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے کیا جانیے کیوں روٹھ گئے کہتی تھی زینب کیا جانیے کیوں روٹھ گئے کہتی تھی زینب رخصت کی گھڑی آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس نہ پانی کے لیے مشق علم لے کے گئے تھے پانی کے لیے مشق علم لے کے گئے تھے دن ڈھل گیا رات آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس نہ خیموں میں لگی آگ تو ہم منہ کو بلانے خیموں میں لگی آگ تو ہم منہ کو بلانے معصوم سکینہ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شیعہ گئے مشق آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے یا حسین
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین حسین یا حسین یا حسین حسین یا حسین یا حسین حسین یا حسین حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا عباس ابن شیر خدا عباس ابن شیر خدا عباس ابن شیر خدا عباس ابن شیر خدا عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس سب پڑھو ماشاءاللہ، عباس ابن شیر خدا، ہم مشکو علم لے کے گھر سے چلا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، حسین عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن ہاں زینب نے دم کر کے ناد علی اپنی ردا بھائی پر ڈال دی، اپنی ردا بھائی پر ڈال دی، دے کر دعا گھر سے رخصت کیا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، حسین عباس ابن شیر خدا، ماشاءاللہ جیو، عباس ابن شیر خدا، شیر خدا، عباس ہاں بچوں کے لب پر خوشی آ گئی، کچھ دیر میں تشنگی جائے گی، کچھ دیر میں تشنگی جائے گی، دریا کی جانب چلے ہیں چچا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، حسین عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن ماشاءاللہ، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن ہاں غازی نے ساحل پر رکھا قدم، کھا کر سکینہ کے سر کی قسم، کھا کر سکینہ کے سر کی قسم، بھر لوں گا اس مشق میں القمہ، عباس ابن شیر خدا، حسین عباس ابن شیر، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن ماشاءاللہ جیو، عباس ابن عباس ابن شیر، ہاں پرچم ہوا میں جو اڑنے لگا، زینب سے بولے شاہ کربلا، زینب سے بولے شاہ کربلا، بھائی پلٹ آئے مانگو دعا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن لیکن اچانک یہ کیا ہو گیا، غازی کا پرچم لرزنے لگا، غازی کا پرچم لرزنے لگا، بے دست ہو کر گرا با وفا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، حسین عباس ابن شیر خدا، خدا عباس ابن عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس عباس ابن ہاں غازی جو زین سے زمین پر گرا، رو کر سکینہ سے اس نے کہا، رو کر سکینہ سے اس نے کہا، شرمندہ بالی تیرا ہے چچا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن خدا، عباس خدا، عباس ابن خدا، شہ کی کمر غم سے خم ہو گئی، طاقت شہیدی کی کم ہو گئی، طاقت شہیدی کی کم ہو گئی، لشکر کا سردار مارا گیا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، شیر خدا، عباس ابن شیر، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس، ماشاءاللہ جیو، رے خدا، عباس ابن خدا. ہاں ریحان منظر وہ کیسے لکھوں، میرے قلم سے ٹپکتا ہے خون، میرے قلم سے ٹپکتا ہے خون. کہتے تھے شبیر بھائی میرا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس رے خدا، عباس، ماشاءاللہ جیو، عباس ابن شیر خدا، عباس، عباس ابن شیر، ہاں بیٹا ہے تو علی کا، زہرا کی تو دعا ہے، شبیر تیرا آقا ام البنین ماں ہے. سب مل کے ماشاءاللہ. بیٹا ہے تو علی کا، زہرا کی تو دعا ہے، شبیر تیرا آقا ام البنین ماں ہے. ہر صورت و چلن میں حیدر سے نہ جدا ہے، تا حشر تجھ سے قائم دنیا میں بس وفا ہے. عباس 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 عباس، سب نام مولا ماشاءاللہ. عباس 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 عباس، ہاں برچھی جگر پہ کھائے اکبر بھی سو رہے ہیں، تپتی زمیں پہ قاسم کے ٹکڑے چن رہے ہیں. برچھی جگر پہ کھائے اکبر بھی سو رہے ہیں، تپتی زمیں پہ قاسم کے ٹکڑے چن رہے ہیں. پکڑے قمر کو اپنی مقتل میں دیکھتے ہیں، تنہا میں رہ گیا ہوں رو رو کے کہہ رہے ہیں. عباس عباس عباس، عباس 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 عباس، جلتے ہوئے ہیں خیمے، لٹتی ہوئی ردائیں، سہمے ہوئے ہیں بچے، زینب کسے بلائیں. چلتے ہوئے ہیں خیمے، لٹتی ہوئی ردائیں، سہمے ہوئے ہیں بچے، زینب کسے بلائے. عباس تم کہاں ہو، عباس تم کہاں ہو، رو رو یہ دل کو تھامے دیتی ہے یہ صدائیں. ہائے عباس 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 عباس، تقدیر کے ستائیں تیرے در پہ سر جھکائیں اشکوں کی التجا ہم غازی تجھے سنائیں تقدیر کے ستائیں تیرے در پہ سر جھکائیں اشکوں کی التجا ہم غازی تجھے سنائیں بیمار سارے باں کے زخموں کا واسطہ ہے جتنے بھی خستہ دل ہیں مولا شفاؤں پائیں عباس با ماشاءاللہ عباس صبا 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 شام غریبہ میں جس کا کرتا جھل گیا ہے کانوں سے بالیاں بھی ہائے شمر لے گیا ہے شام غریبہ میں جس کا کرتا جھل گیا ہے کانوں سے بالیاں بھی ہائے شمر لے گیا ہے اس بے کسی سے مولا بچی کوئی نہ تڑپے فرش عزا پہ رو کر ہر دل یہ کہہ رہا ہے عباس 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 تیرے علم کو تھامے ہر شخص کہہ رہا ہے مظلوم کربلا کا زینب کا واسطہ ہے تیرے علم کو تھامے ہر شخص کہہ رہا ہے مظلوم کربلا کا زینب کا واسطہ ہے پردیسی کوئی ایسا پردیس میں نہ اجڑے صدقے میں اس کے جس کا گھر بار لٹ گیا ہے ہائے عباس 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 صبا 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 باس باس ہاں اس وقت جب کہ زینب دربار میں گئی تھی قاری نمازیوں سے محفل سجی ہوئی تھی اس وقت جب کہ زینب دربار میں گئی تھی قاری نمازیوں سے محفل ہوئی تھی ظالم یہ پوچھتا تھا غازی تیرا کہاں ہے بالوں سے منہ چھپائے زینب یہ کہہ رہی تھی عباس 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 سب بولو عباس آواز کربلا تک پہنچا دے عباس 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 جتنے بھی اشک مولا قرطاس پر گرے ہیں معصومہ کی قسم یہ غازی فقط تیرے ہیں جتنے بھی اشک مولا क़िरतास पर घिरे हैं मासूमा की कसम ये गाजी फ़कत तेरे वो कुछ रकम करूं मैं जो ना रकम हुआ है अल्फाज वो अता कर यावर से जो पड़े हैं अब्बास 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 अब्बास
صلى على محمد وآل محمد. I imagine Fatima al-Zahra salamullahi alayha as if she is visiting the shrine of Abu al-Fadl Abbas and she has a haja from Bab al-Hawa'ij. What could she ask from Abu al-Fadl Abbas? As if she says to him, Abu Fadl, they tell me at your door nobody knocks and leaves empty-handed. Abu Fadl, they tell me at your door nobody knocks and leaves empty-handed. I came to your door for I have no door. I roam Bainul Haramain stranded. Abu Fadl, they tell me at your door nobody knocks and leaves empty-handed. I came to your door for I have no door. I roam Bainul Haramain stranded. Like the arrow that in your eye rested, like the arrow that in your eye rested, the nail behind the door in me rested. Like the arrow that in your eye rested, the nail behind the door in me rested. Muhsin was calling out to me, Ummah. The thought of Asghar has left me breathless. Abu Fadl, they tell me at your door nobody knocks and leaves empty-handed. I came to your door for I have no door. I roam Bainul Haramain stranded. Like the arrow that in your eye rested, the nail behind the door in me rested. Like the arrow that in your eye rested, the nail behind the door in me rested. Muhsin is calling out to me, Ummah. The thought of Asghar has left me breathless. Ya Abu Fadl, Ya Abu Fadl, Ya Abu Fadl, all together, Ya Abu Fadl. Call him out, Ya Abu Fadl, Ya Abu Fadl, Ya Abu Fadl. Bab al-Hawa'ij, call him from your heart, Ya Abu Fadl. Imagine Zainab standing on the till, calling her brother, Ya Abu Fadl, Ya Abu Fadl, Ya Abu Fadl, Ya Abu, all together, louder, Ya Abu Fadl, Ya Abu Fadl, Ya Ya Abu Fadil, I am Zahra. I came to intercede to God through you. Ya Abu Fadil, I am Zahra. I came to intercede to God through you. You and me both know what I am seeking. I'm leaving my request within your tomb. What is your haja, Ya Zahra? Ya Abu Fadil, I am Zahra. I came to intercede to God through you. You and me both know what I am seeking. I'm leaving my request within your tomb. The eye that only seeks the Lord pleasing. Beside the Lord there is no eye pleasing. So you know and I know what I'm seeking. Without my request I'm not leaving. Ya Abu Fadil, 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 Ya Abu Fadil. The angels brought to us some of that sand. The angels brought to us some of that sand. Told the Holy Prophet about that land, that you will throw the water with both hands. Well, here I am reaching to you my hand. The men who are free understand which signs. You and Husayn conversed without speaking. In your silence so much was spoken. I ask you by the ribs that were broken. Ya Abu Fadil, Ya Abu Fadil, Ya Abu Fadil. Raise your hands. Ya Abu, call him with sakina. Ya Abu Fadil. If you have a haja, believe me, tonight it is done by the door of Al-Hawa'ij. Ya Abu Fadil, Ya Abu Fadil, Ya Abu Fadil. I intercede by the tears of Haydar. I'm asking you by the thirsty Asghar, by the loneliness of your brother, and by the flag that fell near the river. What is your haja, Ya Zahra? I ask you by the moon, the sun and rain. Don't make me ask you by my son Husayn. Wipe away with your holy hands this pain. Leave your grave and come see Zainab. Ya Abu Fadil, Ya Abu Fadil, Ya Abu Fadil, Ya Abu Fadil, Ya Bab al-Hawa'ij, salawat. And inshallah, I wanted to recite a few lines yesterday for Al-Qasim alayhi salam and Imam al-Hassan salamullah alayhi. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Husayn, inshallah, we will be all written as the Zawar of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn. But when you go there, please remember the lonely grave of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Husayn, as you near first I want you just to memorize the lines, and inshallah after that we'll do lamatam. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Husayn, as you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Husayn, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. Send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. All together with your voices. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Husayn, as you near crowded haram of Imam Husayn, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. Send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam. From the bottom of your hearts, as you near towards the law, as you near towards the crowded haram of Imam Husayn, as you near towards the crowded haram of one prayer, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. Send a prayer. I won't enter the qasida until you reply to me. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Husayn, as you near did haram of Imam Husayn, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. Send a prayer. I'm still waiting for your jawab. I won't enter the qasida until you reply. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Husayn, as you near did haram of send a prayer towards the lonely haram of MashaAllah, send a prayer. One final time, all together. Imam Hassan, as you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Ya Aba Abdullah, as you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Husayn, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. Send a prayer. MashaAllah. Barakallah bikum. Imam Hassan, even in death you are detained. Even in death you are detained. Although you left, you still remain. Even in death you are detained. Although you left, you still remain. In our hearts we wrote Hassan beside Qasim and Husayn. Your seed is in a land that is devoid of water. He seeks permission on call, allow me to enter. Ya Hassan, Imam Husayn is torn. Ya Hassan, Imam Husayn is torn. Does he send to death your youngest born? Qasim answered him, uncle, you see, to me death is sweeter than honey. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Husayn, raise your hands. As you near did haram of, I think he deserves your voices. Send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. Send a prayer. Ihli haram of Imam. One more time, all together. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Ya Husayn, as you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Hassan, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. Send a prayer in haram of Hassan, your lovers have a dream. Hassan, your lovers have a dream for you and for Ammar al-Banin. Hassan, your lovers have a dream. Hassan, 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 your lovers have a dream for you and for Ammar al-Banin, to build a shrine on your grave, to walk on your arba'in. A dome is the hope for he who is seeking shelter. You answered Husayn's call when he cried for a helper. Abu Fadl sheltered the river. Abu Fadl sheltered the river. Qasim gave a part of his liver. When the foes offered them a way out, they drew for their swords, saying never. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam, I know the words are difficult. As you near the overcrowded haram of, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. Send a prayer. MashaAllah, may Allah bless your voices. One more time. Imam Hassan, as you near as you near move Imam Husayn, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. Send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. How does the pen describe the light? You are the moon of every night. How does the pen describe the light? You are the moon of every night. Without a dome, the Almighty Lord glorified your sight. Oh, he who resides in the city of Medina, you are the Kaaba for the hearts of the believers. The arrows upon your coffin rain, the arrows upon your coffin rain. Come and see what happened on these plains. No coffin and thirsty for 3 days, while the horses rained upon Husayn. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam, as you near did haram of Imam Husayn send a prayer. Li haram of Imam Hassan send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. As you near as you near. Come next to me, Shabab, please. Come next to me. Come on, everyone, come next to me. Come to the front, please. Break your lines and come to the front. As you near towards the crowded haram of Imam Husayn, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam. Barakallah, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam. I want you all to recite with one voice for the last time. As you near the overcrowded haram of Imam Husayn. One voice. As you near did haram of Barakallah, send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam Hassan. Send a prayer towards the lonely haram of Imam. Ila ilaha illallah, ila ilaha illallah, ila ilaha illallah, Muhammadun Rasulullah, ila ilaha illallah, ila ilaha illallah, Muhammadun Rasulullah, Aliyun waliyullah, Aliyun waliyullah, Aliyun waliyullah, Nada Ali yan mudhir al-ajaib, Nada Ali yan mudhir al-ajaib, تجده عونا لك في النوائب, كل هم وغم سينجليها, كل هم وغم سينجلي بعظمتك يا الله, بعظمتك بنبوتك, بعظمتك بعظمتك يا الله, بنبوتك يا محمد, بولايتك علي 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 يا علي يا علي أدركني, يا علي يا علي أدركني, ها يا علي يا علي أدركني, يا علي. Mustafa's defender, Mustafa's defender, who never surrendered, victor in Hunayn, Husayn, 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 Husayn. Mustafa's defender, who never surrendered, victor in Hunayn, Ali, 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 Ali. Mustafa's defender, who never surrendered, victor in Hunayn, Ali. Ali, 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 breaker of the idols, the walking recital, father of Husayn, 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 warder of the evils, warner of the sequels, carer of the feeble. Who else beside you, Ya Ali, is the quencher by the river? Who else beside you, Ya Ali, is the quencher by the river? One hand sends them to heaven, the other to hell delivers. Whoever severed his tie with you, with God he severed. Who else said, ask me before you lose me, but Ali, whose hand was raised when, whose hand was raised when Taha said he's your Ali, whose name is on the banners, on the heads when we rally. Ali, 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 Ya Ali, Ya Ali, 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 Ya Ali, Ya Ali, 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 Ya Ali, Ya Ali, 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 Ali. Keeper of the secret, soother of the ailments, father of the orphans, Ali, 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 keeper of covenant, servant of the servant, he fathered even sand, Ali, 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 Ali. In Uhud he never ran, the poor he would never shun, leader of jinn and man. Ali, Ali, you are the event they asked about in Ghadir. Ali, Ali, you are the event they asked of in Ghadir. Ali, Ali, besides fearing Allah, Ali, no one else you fear. Ali, Ali, your name will remain after all will disappear. Maryam came to the house, but she was sent towards the east. Muharram soon realized that he was up against the beast. Even before the fighting had begun, he was deceased. Ali, 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 Ya Ali, Ya Ali, 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 Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Faniyul Qabail, Muhlikul Jahafir, Sahibul Usudi, Fa'ilul Mahalik, Ghaziyul Mamalik, Kasirul Yahudi, Hadimul Jamajim, Shahidul Malahim, Mufrighul Hushudi. Ali, Ali, Durrat النجف ومضوب سماها. علي علي تانسها عشق ومعطر هواها. علي علي أجمل المدن صحنك يا خطاها. من صحنك النسيم على ولايتك يذب. مايك إذا نشرب نحس قيمة العذب. سبحانك على بابك من يوقف العبد. ينزع شسعنا عالى وينزع شكو ذنب. علي 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 يا علي يا علي 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 يا علي يا علي 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 علي. Come aid me, Saint, Saint, come aid me. Come aid me, Saint, Saint, come aid me, Saint, Saint. Ya Husayn, and if my 2 feet fail me, come aid me, Husayn, Husayn, come aid me. Ya Husayn, and if my 2 feet fail me, if my eye were not to mourn, you save me. Come aid me. Come aid me, Saint, Saint, come aid me, Saint, Saint. Ya Husayn, and if my 2 feet fail me, Saint, if my eye were not to mourn, you save me. If they fail to walk at all, Sayyidi, then I will crawl, and my tear had better fall. Come aid me. I'm crazy, Saint, Saint, I'm crazy, Saint, Saint. In your loving, it's the way you raise me, Saint, Saint. And no medicine will heal or change me, Saint, Saint. It's the way I want to stay, a lunatic for Husayn. No one can control the rain. I'm crazy, so leave me, Saint, Saint, so leave me. Let my tear flow for Husayn and leave me, Saint, Saint. Let the blood rain for Husayn and bleed free, Saint, Saint. Let the heavens ache in eye, cry until they are dry, and stop asking all your whys and leave me. When near you, Saint, when near you, Saint, Saint, when near you, Inshallah, when near you, Saint, Saint. If you hear me, can you make me hear you, Saint? When near you, Saint, if you hear me, can you make me hear you, Saint? I am walking up to your shrine, tearful, Saint, let them call me what they call, when for you my tears they fall. Zainab is catching them all and counting. My reason, Saint, my reason, Saint, my reason, Saint, my day and my night and my four seasons, Saint, my reason, Saint, my day and my night and my four seasons, Saint, my blood and heart and the air I breathe in, Saint, my spirit, you are my soul, Syed, you are my goal, Syed, you are my all, my reason. They told me, Saint, they told me, life would be full of pain, but only, Saint, they told me, Saint, life would be full of pain, but only, Saint, Abba Abdullah's love consoles me, Saint, and you overpower and control me, Saint, I am in your holy hand, submitting to your command, and when I enter your land, console me. Ya Abul Fadl, لو صحت تهتز السماوات, يا أبا الفضل لو صحت تهتز السماوات, يا أبا الفضل لو صحت تبقى محنة هيهات, يا أبا الفضل صيح يا أبا الفضل. سن مجنونك, سن مجنونك, أظل مجنونك, أنا ما أقدر, أنا ما أقدر أعيش بدونك, أعيش بدونك, يا أبا الفضل. With no hand you hit the floor without your sight, يا أبا الفضل. With no hand you hit the floor without your sight, يا أبا الفضل. Take my eyes and take my left and take my right, يا أبا الفضل, يا أبا الفضل, يا أبا الفضل. Ya Abul Fadl, when I call you with me, all the angels sing. Ya Abul Fadl, when I call you with me, all the angels sing. Ya Abul Fadl, when you lost your hands, the angels lost their wings. Ya Abul Fadl, Ya Abul Fadl, Ya Abul Fadl, Ya. I see you have gathered here to oppose me. I see you have gathered here to oppose me. You brought armies and I brought my family. You brought armies and I brought my family. The river of generosity is me. The river of generosity is me, and you deny to me that which flows freely, and you deny to me that which flows freely. I won't give in till the blood from me will all spill. I will summon Ali Akbar and Abul Fadl. Abu Fadl, Abu Fadl, 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 Abul Fadl. Abu Fadl, Abu Abul Fadl. May all your hajat inshallah be granted by Bab al-Hawaj. Abul Fadl Abbas, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Ya Husayn, 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 Ya Husayn,
Ya Husayn,
Ya Husayn,
Ya Husayn,
Ya Husayn,
Ya Husayn,
Ya Husayn.
Ya Husayn.
آل عمران کہا اور زندان کہا یہ بہن قید ہوئی تو نایا غازی جبر دا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی
تو نایا غازی جبر دا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نایا غازی
آ گئی شام علم لٹ گئے اہل حرم ریت پر جلتی ہوئی ہو گیا ٹھنڈا علم پرسہ دینے کے لیے مجھ سے ملنے کے لیے آ گئے بابا علی
تو نایا غازی جبر دا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو
نایا غازی جبر دا سر سے
چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نایا غازی
دھوپ میں ٹوٹا شجر تجھ سے آباد تھا گر ہے بڑھنا میرا سر کیا نہیں تجھ کو خبر اے علمدار وفا اس بہن کو باخدا تجھ سے دارستی بری تو نایا
غازی
جبر دا سر سے چنی میں صدا
دیتی رہی تو نایا
غازی جبر دا سر سے
چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نایا غازی
کیا کہوں شعر میرے بیردہ ہم کو لیے یہ مسلمان سارے شہر در شہر گئے خلقت کوفہ کبھی خلقت شام کبھی بارہا ہم پہ ہنسی تو نایا
غازی جبر دا سر سے چنی
میں صدا دیتی رہی
تو نایا
غازی جبر دا سر سے
چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نایا غازی
کتنی بے بس تھی بہن اے شہنشاہ وفا نام لے لے کے میرا جب یہ ظالم نے کہا ناز تھا جس پہ تجھے اب بلاؤ نہ اسے اور میں روتی رہی تو نایا
غازی
جبر دا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی
تو نایا
غازی جبر دا سر سے چنی
میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نایا غازی
ہم کو پانی نہ ملے تیری خوشبو تو رہے تیرے بازو نہ کٹے چاہے مشکی زاچی دے یہ مگر ہو نہ سکا تیرے بازو ہے جدا مجھ پہ تشنا لبی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی قید خانے میں قضا جب سکینہ کو ملی دیکھی کرتے کا کفن بچی دفنائے گئے اس گھڑی نام تیرا صورت ناد علی بس میں دوڑاتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی یا حسین
السلام علیکم یا نبی اللہ السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ السلام علیکم یا امیر المؤمنین وابن سید الوطین السلام علیکم یا فاطمۃ الزہرا سیدۃ نساء العالمین السلام علیکم یا حسن المجتبی السلام علیکم یا ابا عبد اللہ الحسین وعلی تسعۃ المعصومین من ذریتک السلام علیکم یا علی ابن الحسین یا محمد ابن علی یا جعفر ابن محمد یا موسیٰ ابن جعفر یا علی ابن موسیٰ یا محمد ابن علی یا علی ابن محمد یا حسن ابن علی یا حجت ابن الحسن القائم المہدی یا صاحب الزمان الامان 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 یا فتن الزمان السلام علیکم یا خلیفۃ الرحمن یا شریک القرآن یا کعبۃ الایمان یا امام الانس والجان اجل اللہ تعالی فرجک وسہل اللہ تعالی مخرجک وظہورک واجعلنا من اعوانک انصارک السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ